Hello and welcome back again to it must be third week of interviews. And today I'm really delighted to be joined by Amanda from the Capture Group, who operate wildlife habitat and rainforestation in Far North Queensland. Hi Amanda, how's life up there?
Pretty good. It's nice and chilly, down to 11 degrees.
11 degrees was, I think, the temperature of my kitchen this morning, but it was a heck of a lot colder outside. So you've no sympathy from here at all.
Oh, we love it here. Well, I do anyway, when it gets down a few into the lower degrees.
Well, that's got the pleasantries of talking about the weather out the way. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do? And tell us all about the job that you operate and what it's like living in the wet tropics.
Yeah, so I'm a local. I'm not born and bred in Cairns, but I say I'm a local. I've been here around 20, 25, 26 years. I've lost count anyway. And I love it here in Cairns. It's just such a beautiful region to live in. We've got Great Barrier Reef, we've got the rainforests, and of course all of our beautiful native wildlife, which is part of the job I do here in Cairns. I work for a company called the Captor Group, and we have several attractions and tours that we operate across the region. So my role within that group is digital and media manager. So I oversee all of the websites, all of the social media, a lot of the advertising, and that's across all of the businesses. But my favourite part of the job is doing that for the wildlife parks. So we have 4 wildlife parks. One of those is Wildlife Habitat in Port Douglas, and then we've got Rainforestation up in Kuranda. We've got an Australian Butterfly Sanctuary up in Kuranda also, and then we have the Cairns Zoom and Wildlife Dome in the Cairns CBD. And yeah, so I love going in and sharing the stories about all of the animals to all of our guests.
I often get asked by people how to get a job in with nature, and one of my commonest responses is don't get qualified in anything to do with conservation or ecology. Get a skill in something else. Become a lawyer, an accountant, or a marketing person. I said it's much easier to step in and get a job doing that, and then you get to do what you do. But you also then get to step in, you're doing live videos at the moment and things like that. You're getting to do all this cool stuff with animals as well.
Yeah, it's actually been really interesting during this whole sort of we're calling it a hibernation period that we've been in due to COVID-19, and I've actually been having a really good time. I know it's it's a terrible situation, but we've been making the best of it here in Cairns, and so we've been bringing wildlife live feeds on Wednesdays and Fridays through all of our social media channels. So we go between the 4 parks, and I've been hosting and quizzing some wildlife keepers all about the animals, and we've got guests online that are asking all the questions. But it's been pretty special for me because sometimes I have to sort of pester to get nice and close to the animals when we're operating, but the keepers have been very, very willing to let me in and cuddle all of the animals for social media, of course.
Well, let's talk. Let's talk about. Let's cut straight to the chase because I know you have a favorite animal, but you also told me I guess in the greatest traditions of live broadcasting that they don't always behave themselves. So tell me about your favorite animal and what happened the other day.
Well, you're not supposed to have favourites, but I really love the dingoes at at Rainforest Station Nature Park. So we've got 2 alpine dingoes at Rainforest Station, and they're brother and sister, and we've actually had them since they were babies. Unfortunately, I missed out. I started just after that time, but as you can see, they're still pretty cute. But yeah, it doesn't always go right. We've had a few little incidents with them when we've been filming. Once we tried to film them for Australia Day, and we took some sausages in, thinking that we'd get them to sit and wait and then jump up for the camera. But they pretty much just started eating the sausages as soon as we walked in. And on our Facebook Lives, it's on their own time. If they want to be in front of the camera, they do. If not, we just have to chase them.
I think what's cool about that is that you've got these. okay, so dingoes are wild dogs. They're a wild animal in Australia, but you've got these animals strolling around that we would be very familiar with in our homes as pets, with incredibly distinct personalities. And those distinct types of personalities are wandering around the Australian bush doing their thing as well and living wild. And you said that the two are very different. What's the contrast between them?
Yeah, it's really interesting considering they're brother and sister. They've got really unique personalities. So Kelly, the female dingo, they're called Ned and Kelly, and Ned is the male, and he's very, he's always when you walk in, he's a little bit sort of standoffishy, and he's a little bit concerned, and he's always looking around to see what's going on. Whereas Kelly, as soon as you walk in, she just races to you. She wants tummy rubs. She wants, she was the one in the video that was licking my face. And she just wants all the attention, like a real puppy.
So you obviously get a lot of visitors through every year. What is it that the organization kind of stands for in terms of its eco certification? What are the things that you are kind of built into the process for both the operation side, but also for the guests? What do they learn from that?
Yeah, we have a big a view around conservation, I guess, with our animals and our rainforests and ecosystems in general. All of our wildlife parks are eco accredited. And we make sure that we tell the stories of the animals in an educational way, and that's a really important part of having animals in captivity, is that we can show people everything about them and how to look after their ecosystems so that they can survive in the wild as well. So we have conservation at the very core of our values, and through observing these animals at the parks, you can help be part of the conservation for the animals. And in fact, at Wildlife Habitat, we have a wildlife care rescue centre, which is called TARC, Tropical Rehabilitation Animal Centre. And we take in wildlife that's injured, and we also have programs to help with the breeding of all of these animals and sustaining their ecosystems in the wild.
So explain to me with it. So with an animal rescue, what's the process then? So from somebody finds an animal locally to when they arrive at you, and what happens next?
Um, well, it's been a little bit different during this time. We need contactless pickups, obviously. But in general, so the Tropical Animal Rehabilitation Centre runs as a non-for-profit, and it's run off donations. And it's been at Wildlife Habitat as a care centre for a long time, but it's only just been registered as a non-for-profit in the last year. So basically, if someone finds an injured animal, they can call us on our wildlife hotline, which is listed on our website on wildlifehabitat.com, and they can explain to us what's happened, what they see, and then we can give them advice, because a lot of the time the animal actually doesn't need rescuing. For example, baby birds, sometimes they just need to be monitored, and mum will come and pick them up. If they are in a position that they need to be rescued, one of our keepers will come out and rescue them, unless it's safe for the person to actually bring them to us. From there, the end goal is always re-release. So we would be able to give them medicine, give them rehabilitation, and then hopefully we would re-release them into the area that they were found, if that's safe to do so. And if it's not safe to do so, then we would give them a very healthy, happy life at our wildlife sanctuary.
It sounds like a lot of work. It sounds like a full-time job for a number of people to run something like that.
Well, yes, it is. And in fact, a lot of our keepers do this all in their spare time. So they do look after the animals during the day. But of course, when they're really, really young, animals need to be fed more than babies sometimes, every couple of hours. So a lot of our keepers, and I just think that the keepers are so amazing. They have a joey and they have a baby bird, and they're waking up every second hour to do one feed and the other feed, and it really is. And then they come to work all day and look after the other animals. So they're pretty amazing here at our captor group.
And that's I guess that interest in preserving the environment extends through. So you run a lot of sustainability programs, like all the eco certified products we talk to. You've got a whole range of different things that you do to limit your impact as well, from your visitors and yourselves.
Yeah, we do. So each of our different parks kind of leads their own initiatives when it comes to our eco sustainability. So actually, one I think is quite cool and funny is at Rainforest Station we have this machine, and I don't know the real name of it because it's not important, but we call it in-house the Poo Sucker 2000, and
Sounds lovely.
and what it actually is a vacuum cleaner that they go and vacuum up all of the kangaroo and wallaby poos, and then they can use that as manure, and they use it in their gardening rather than going out and buying new stuff. So there's a lot of little quirky bits and pieces that we do to help the environment up there.
That's superb. And so, what do you think from the perspective of guests who come through? What is it the experience that they're getting going through your park? And I'm actually quite interested to know what value does that give people when they actually go out into the wild? Because obviously the thing about the Athen Tablelands, Coranda, Daintree, and so on, you can wander through places, you can see a lot of this wildlife. You can come across a cassowary, for example, quite easily, even in places like Mission Beach. But you're seeing, or maybe being a bird watcher, I find it slightly easier. But no, there's opportunities to see all this wildlife. Seeing them in captivity, seeing them and learning about them, how do you think that affects people's understanding and appreciation when they do get a chance to see something in the wild?
I just think that it makes it so much more special, and it's that Mount Everest moment of you can learn all about these animals, and definitely see them in our parks and have a really up close look, because of course we've got the animals in a safe place where you can observe really closely and learn about how you might get to spot one in the wild. So our keepers, are avid wildlife spotters, and they'll give you hints, how to make cassowary noises, or how to, where you might see a tree kangaroo, because they're really hard to spot. But it's so important that you learn about these animals from an expert first, so that, for example, when you do see a cassowary in the wild, you know not to go up to it, and you can just appreciate it from afar. But also you'll carry on the stories that the wildlife keepers tell you, the quirks about the animal, and then when you see it in the wild, you can remember them. But in the long term, when you're talking to people, it's most likely the little bits and pieces that you've learnt at a wildlife park that you'll tell people.
No, I couldn't agree more. I think one of the things I've really certainly enjoyed in the past, being in that region myself, is having both those opportunities, going to the butterfly house to see things and then seeing them in the wild. Yeah, tree kangaroos, likewise, cassowaries. I've had a number of very amazing encounters, but yeah, it's tremendous to get that, yeah, that comparison. Amanda, it's been really nice to talk, and so a couple of things. Where do people go to see your live videos?
So the easiest way to find them is just to go to
Hmm.
capta.com.au/live streams. And then we have all of our videos listed there, but they are every Wednesday and Friday, 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. But we share them around our four parks. So we'd love you to follow us on all four of our social media channels for the four parks, which again are listed at capta.com.au. And then you can keep on this journey with us.
And if anyone has a native animal that they're worried about, what's the number they call?
Actually, I might have to direct you to the website there. I
Yep.
don't know it off the top of my head,
No,
but
that's
if you just go
absolutely fine.
to,
But back on capture.com.au.
actually go to wildlifehabitat.com.au/TARC, TARC, and the information of what you need to do is there.
Or search for just Tark in
TARC
yeah.
Cairns or TARC Port Douglas should come up.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, well, look, lovely to talk, and good luck with everything, and hopefully see you up there again at some point when we get the chance to travel again. I'm sure in the
Yes,
not too
fingers
distant
crossed.
future. All right,
Yeah,
and
hopefully.
good, yeah, have fun cuddling the animals in the meantime.
Always. Thanks very much.
Cheers. Bye.